Memorial Day weekend, we've had friends and family staying with us. And I shared with them this morning at breakfast that I was going to be writing and recording this month's newsletter today, and that it was going to be all about adult learning. And that's when my husband's cousin, Dennis, said, "What do I need to learn as an adult for anyway?" Okay, I mean, really, let's think about that. Why do we need to learn as adult? What drives us for that? And what does this have to do with how we grow our businesses, train our teams, or advance our careers? As an adult, well, learning just isn't about gathering information. It's about making the world around us better, right? Learning isn't just for the kids in school. And the way that we learn as adults isn't the same way that we learned as kids in school. I kind of think of it like this. As adults, we've heard it all, right? And there really isn't that much new under the sun to us. Sure, we know the information, but as Dennis had pointed out, why do I need to learn this is actually the question that drives most adult learning. You see, according to Malcolm Knowles, who made popular the theory of androgyny, the adult learning theory, as many people refer to it, because they probably couldn't pronounce it either. You see, the biggest difference, according to the adult learning model, is that how we learn as kids and how we learn as adults is that as adults, the process for how we learn is much more important than the actual content itself. For example, my husband and I have taken on a few remodeling projects at home during the pandemic. And let me tell you, there's a reason that we have a rule that says anything that we say to each other during a construction project will not be held against us 12 hours later. Probably a big reason why we're still married. Anyway, the latest remodeling project is the bathroom closest to my office. He gutted the whole room, he rewired it, he drywalled it, and then I came in, painted everything, and tiled the floor. And there are times when we would get stuck. So we would watch YouTube how-to videos, make another trip to the hardware store, and tackle the next obstacle. And more than a few times, we couldn't figure it out through the YouTube channel or based on anything that we'd ever done before. So we had to call someone in who had more expertise than us to show us how. Which is why our cousins Dennis and Cindy are here helping us to solder heating pipes and replace the washing machine hookups and move the plumbing traps for the new vanity and sink to fit. Now, I don't have any idea what any of that means, and I really don't feel like I need to because I'm not the one doing it. Now, how does this apply to how you learn or how you train your teams? There's 6 parts to the adult learning theory model, and here's how you can apply 3 of them to your own learning or for the program that you use for your teams. First, we have to address the Dennis question. Why do we need to learn this stuff anyway? That means we have to identify what we're learning and why it's important to what we're trying to get done, to the goals that we're trying to reach, that we're trying to do right now. Now, for my hubby and me, we need to get the bathroom done because we finally can have people over and they need a place to go. So until the new pipes get moved, we can't move forward to the next stage of this project in getting it all done. Now, as a business owner or a seller, you have to ask yourself, how can you apply what you're learning right now to getting your next customer, your next client, your next task? And as a sales manager or a leader or a trainer, how does what you're asking your team to learn relate to their day-to-day important jobs? How is that important to the overall company direction, next stage of growth, and how does it align with their own personal goals? You see, learning something new is tough and it's stressful. And you may need the reminder to stick it through the mistakes that are sure to happen. I mean, I can't even tell you how many times we've gotten the wrong tool or part or messed up something that we had to do over again. But we couldn't just give up. And neither can you. This has to get done. So the next important aspect to learning as an adult is to focus on the problem, not the content. This is one of the many, many pet peeves that I have with most onboarding programs for sales hires. They start with the content on the product and the sales process and not on the problem that sellers need to be addressing with buyers, the ones that are important to buyers. What happens then is sometimes like the argument that I got into with hubby when he kept telling me, I'm not a plumber, I don't know how to do this stuff. Ever heard that from some of your salespeople or your team members or felt like that yourself? Now, there's one thing that you do need to know about my husband, and that is that he loves to brew beer. And he has watched more hours of YouTube videos on how to cut copper and solder pipes to create his rig, which he's now taken apart and rebuilt at least 3 times. Now, in my mind, I'm thinking, how is that any different from pipes and soldering in plumbing? You know what you need to do, just do it. Turns out there's a big difference. And while the concept of content there seemed to relate and be transferable to me, the person who wasn't doing the job, it wasn't to my husband, who still had to be the one doing the job. Now, that's why your training programs should be focused on the content, not be focused on the content alone, but rather on its practical use to solve a specific problem. What did they need to know to fix it? Because that, and only that, is what's going to be important to them right now. So to tie the content to the problem at hand, one of the things that you're going to need to include in your program is a regular cadence of practice and coaching. It's absolutely key. You see, my husband's cousin came in this weekend to walk him through each of the steps, doing it with him, having him do it, so that now he can take the new knowledge that he has and transfer it to a practical application with what the task is at hand right now. Now, if you don't have a coach, then what you need to do is ask yourself, how am I going to apply this? Where am I going to apply this? Who am I going to apply it with? And how will I practice it and get feedback in ways to improve? Now, listen to this. Lo and behold, when my husband's cousin was here helping with this, I didn't have to remind him about our deadline to get this done. He was up and ready to learn and to do it because he wanted to get this bathroom done as much as I did, and he was getting the information he needed to overcome the obstacles. It motivated him to keep going. That you have to be ready to learn. Because when you tie what you're learning to something that solves an immediate problem, it helps to motivate us because we're starting to see some progress as we apply it. Now, there's 6 different aspects to the adult learning model, and there are several other learning models and styles that we use as adults. That's why I'm hoping that you'll join me for my next episode of What Sales Can Learn with my new friend, Rogers Turner. He wrote his thesis paper on Malcolm Knowles and the adult learning theory, and he's going to share some insights and tips on what his research said about how to make training stick and how to transform business outcomes as a result of that. So check out the link below to watch it live or on demand later. And please, I would love to hear your comments. What are you hoping that we'll address on June 8th? Or simply let me know, what is it that you're struggling with as an adult learner or a teacher of adults? What did you learn recently? And what was key for making it stick for you? Until next time,